Yeah, that's it.
Hey, look, we got a train running tonight, guys.
All right.
Woo. Oh my God, this is fun. What is tonight's number?
244.
244 already. Look at how dark you are. Wow. All right. I think we're ready to go. We got a lot of models on the table. Both cameras are running. Thank you very much, Daniel. I wish you were here. So with that, give us a countdown.
Okay. Again, 3, 2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you. And by GL Robotics. With over 61 colors of 3D printing filaments in stock, your gateway to new technology. Check out their website at glroboticsusa.com. Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com. And by Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week show in model railroading, show number 244 for August 12th, 2023. I'm your host, Ken Patterson, the host of that What's Neat show over at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And there's both great videos running right now. The current video is running, and as of August 15th, the August video will be out. A lot of great material in that one, in that Jennifer Kirk takes us to a factory in the UK where they manufacture trains. And she sits down and has her hand at it. And all of that's captured on video with great, she produces really good videos, guys. I really love Jenny out there. All right, so tonight I've got sitting where Mike always sits, Richard.
How you doing, everybody?
Hey, Richard. You look awfully dark.
Yep, nothing but beautiful
I'm sure
Colorado
we're going to hear
sun.
about where you got that tan, and I bet it's not from Florida.
Nope. High altitude tan.
Sitting right next to me, I've got Stephen Mantia. Hey, Steve.
Hello.
You brought something orange.
Orange and all kinds of multicolors in
It's
that.
absolutely beautiful and very heavy. I can't wait to hear about that model. Out in Skypeland tonight, I've got Curtis Koch from Broadway Limited Imports down in beautiful sunny Florida. Hey, Curtis.
Yes, hello guys. Thanks for having me.
It's awesome to have you on the show. And there's a lot of models on the table that you and I have worked with in the last 4 months for the show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine. And I can't wait to hear what you got to talk about tonight, because I know there's got to be something
lots
really
of great
cool
stuff coming.
All right, so with that, for the next week, we've got scheduled Lionel Strang on the show. That'll be kind of fun. And I think if Holly's schedule permits, I want her sitting here, and the rest of the podcast group. I know Joshua's going to be here, and we should have a really good show. But let's make it through this one first.
Yes.
So, Richard, tell me about your adventure out in Colorado, because in the green room tonight, you were very passionate about the fact that you felt like you were home.
Oh, yes. This was the first time I went back there in 29 years. We left Wednesday night. We drove straight through, and we got there about 11:30, 11:45. First thing I did was I drove right into the mining district. I took Tina up there. I couldn't wait to take her up there. I got out, and I got out at the first mine I ever saw at Leadville back in 1990, and I just felt like I never left. It was amazing. I just can't describe the feeling. I mean, you really, really have to kind of have a passion for Leadville like I do. But the funny thing is I told Tina this, as much as I love Leadville, I don't know anything about the history of the town because all of my interests lied in the eastern side of town, the mining district.
Okay.
But we had beautiful weather all week, oh my God. It did rain for maybe 10 minutes during the mining competition, but other than that, it's just, like you said, I got really dark, and about a day ago, it looked like I had leprosy. I had really dark skin here and pink skin here. The sun is just so intense, you get such a tan. But we did go on the Leadville, Colorado and Southern. She enjoyed that. And I took her around the district a couple of days, and she liked it more than I really thought she would.
Awesome. That's always good. That's
that's very
good.
important.
That
Yes,
is good. The last day I took her up, it's kind of irrelevant, but I took her up 7th Street, which is another street that goes into the mining district. She enjoyed that the most because, in her words, it's not as miney. It's more of nature, but I didn't take her on another road that did lead into the mines. But yeah, I can't wait to go back there again. So I don't think that's why I was upset when I knew my time was up, because I'm going back.
Wow, sounds very.
Now, this layout that you're building, I've seen photographs, you've shared photographs of your layout room on Facebook with everybody. Will this layout encompass some of those things that you relate to out there?
Oh, absolutely. Like I mentioned on one of your shows, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to model it all. I'm going to need a bigger basement. But I'm just going to have to pick and choose. It's going to take me a little time to decide. I'm just going to have to pick and choose what I want to model in the old mining area. I actually brought back a couple of bags of dirt.
Dirt. There's nothing better than dirt for the layout.
Yeah.
And dirt's legal. You can bring back dirt.
Well, this dirt, this dirt I brought back was from Oro City, is
Okay.
where the Leadville was born, gold mining area. And then I brought back another bag. It was from the Pyrenees mine. It's pyritic sand. So what I'm going to do is screen out all the little pyrite crystals and use that. But I did not bring back as much dirt as I anticipated because I brought back probably over 100 pounds of rocks
There you go.
instead.
When I went out to Denver to work with Kevin Rubel back in the days of the caboose, he reiterated to me as I got to walk part of the Rio Grande Southern Railroad, and he said, if you don't pick up spikes, don't pick up souvenirs off of any of those sites, because evidently there's a law in Colorado that says we're not supposed to do that.
Right.
So
I wasn't aware of that, but I did not pick up any spikes.
Okay.
I know. How about that? That's what are you going to do?
But then again, who's going to see you do it? If you won't say anything, I won't say anything.
All right, Curtis, I'm about to throw it to you because you know what? You are the youth in the hobby. You're very intelligent. You're very internet and technological savvy based on my relationship on the phone talking with you. I think you're an absolute added asset to Broadway Limited to bring them in and get all that social media content. I know Facebook, but there's other things that you said, Twitter and I don't know, all the other things you said that actually I don't know. But tell us about your passion for the hobby and welcome to our industry.
Oh, well, thank you. It's great to be in the industry. I have been a modeler almost all of my life. My dad had a home layout growing up, so I got to help be involved with that. And at a pretty young age, I got pretty involved with like prototypical operating sessions and stuff like that. So I was all in on it and still am, obviously, because I'm working for Broadway Limited, but have thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm a big Santa Fe guy. You mentioned
yes. That's good.
You mentioned the social media stuff. I'm primarily active with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or I guess now it's X, as that's changed from Elon Musk and everything. But yeah, I'm very active on all that stuff, and I help with our YouTube channel and all that stuff too. And just happy to be in a fun environment. What better industry to work in than one that you consider a hobby, and obviously the best one in the world to be working in for that matter. So always been, like I said, into the hobby and super excited to be working for Broadway Limited. And I moved, show my dedication for how much I wanted this. I moved from Chicago. I used to be up in the Midwest by you guys. I lived in Chicago and moved down to Florida to be working down here. So thoroughly enjoying it as we speak. I just started last March and been enjoying every minute of it.
Wow.
Dang, I got to move to Florida. Twist my arm, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh my goodness.
The day we moved down, we flew down. The next day, it snowed 8 inches in Chicago, and that was in early March.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Moved away just at the
Yep.
right time.
Right? Yeah.
Great choice, yeah.
All right, so I guess what is your you're the director of communications. Is that your job title?
Yeah, director of marketing and social media. So I help with all of the social media content across all of our platforms, even on our website. I started writing out last month. I did a monthly newsletter that we do where we're going to start getting more updates on projects, start interacting with customers in terms of like if they have questions that they want to know as to why there might be a delay on something. Will you guys make this? Why is there no smoke units in an N scale steamer? Whatever it may be, people have tons of questions. So we're trying to be more transparent and talk to customers more, because I know like they all do and we all are, we all love trains and we all want the best models we can possibly have.
Amen.
And to give people what they want is what we're hoping to do.
That's awesome. On the table, I've got this HO scale locomotive, the Chesapeake in Ohio, and that's called
It's a K2 Mikado.
a K2 Mikado, baby. I want to tell you what, you guys call this hybrid brass. And I've got some outdoor photographs. In fact, I am so proud of these photos because they just, when you have a good model, it makes the photographer's job that much easier.
And the details and everything, it makes it
Right?
look like
Exactly.
it's back in the 1940s or 50s when the locomotive ran too. Same thing with the N-scale F units that we posted a couple of days ago on our Facebook pages and Instagram and everything. Those outdoor photos too, it makes it look like you're standing in a rail yard somewhere in the Midwest with the Frisco paint scheme and Missouri Pacific paint scheme right there.
Amen.
It looks awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to go back to using Helicon Focus so that the B unit will be completely in focus with the A unit, and at that point you won't be able to tell what scale it is, whether it's 1-to-1, HO scale, O scale, or N scale. I let my subscription lapse, but I'm going to get that fixed because I used that for years, and it has proven to be a very good photo stacking program. I know Photoshop comes with that program as well, a photo stacking program where you can have ultimate depth of field. It used to be back in the 70s and 80s. In the 80s, I made a pinhole lens. I took a Pentax camera lens and a Nikon, in fact, and put the metal piece of brass circle in it, drilled it with a very fine drill bit, and then put little spider arms towards, so the aperture and the center of the hole is perfect. And you'd have to shoot an exposure outside of about 2 minutes to get enough light to come through that little tiny hole, but it would give you ultimate depth of field. It was shocking how realistic things looked. The only problem with that technology was the fact that things would be a little bit fuzzy. And I remember how bad Kalmbach told me they didn't like that, because when they saw it in the computer, it would never make cover material, but it still looked good for smaller photos in an article. But yeah, rock and roll. Wait till you see the photos you get next week. They're going to be fantastic. Now tell us, you sent me these T1 locomotives. I used to own 2 of them in HO scale. I'm going to show you photographs of the HO scale models right now because I got into it and shot them coming, both standing in the middle, shooting each one. And this was 2 variations, the one skirted and the one non-skirted variation. And you have these in N scale that I shot this week. Tell us about this beautiful model.
Yeah, so those just came in stores now. The prototypical paint scheme on the left there, for those of you looking on the camera, and on the right is the fantasy scheme, that one of the 3 fantasy schemes, that we're offering. The silver one, a lot of people just love the look of that silver paint on the T1.
Yes.
Pennsylvania Railroad never did that in prototypical form, but it's so cool, and I'm sure a lot of Pennsy fans would love to have that leading maybe a Broadway Limited or any other passenger train that they have that they want to model on their railroad. And they're just so cool. And obviously there's the group out there, and I forget which state it is off the top of my head, that's actually building one up from scratch. They're kind of rebuilding one in the sense that there was the steam preservation group in England. They rebuilt one of their extinct locomotives, and I know there's a group doing the same thing with the T1s too. So that might be a future road number will offer at some point when that's
Wow.
back up and running.
That would be amazing. And you know, those ran into St. Louis, they ran into Union Station, and right through Illinois, back they went.
Yeah, and it's just so cool to look at the sleek, streamlining design of those locomotives from back in the day. I mean, it just brought so much elegance to the rails. It just looks so cool, and it's so cool how you can get those details into N scale. I'm an HO guy myself, but N scale you can fit so much now, and N scalers are really just getting a great detailed steam locomotive or duplex there as you're looking at it, and it's just so, like I said, elegant and cool. It's such just a beautiful N scale model. So yeah, those are in stores now. You can contact your dealer today and get those, both with sound and our Stealth series. Our Stealth series is our DCC ready one. So if you want to add a different aftermarket sound decoder or aftermarket DCC decoder, you can do that, and it'll just plug right in, and you'll be good to go. If you get a sound decoder, the best part with the Stealth is that the speakers are included. So you don't have to install any speakers or anything. You just literally plug in your next 18 sound decoder into the T1, and you're all set. You're good to go.
Amen. And I think we did that. We made a video for Model Railroad Hobbyist magazine that might be currently running right now, where we took this SD40
Yeah.
and the Santa Fe, and we put a aftermarket decoder in it, I believe from Soundtracks.
Yeah.
And it was a relatively simple process.
Yeah,
And
the
just-
SD40s were the only ones that didn't include the speakers in them, and that was just because we made the decision, unfortunately, after those were already made,
Okay.
to include the speaker. So the SD40s don't have the speaker. You can purchase those from our website if you're looking to do that. But all models going forward after the SD40 in both HO and N and Stealth will have the speakers included.
No, that was cool. And you know what? It was super simple to do. It was,
Yeah,
it was
super
just,
simple.
it was very straightforward with the 21 pin decoder, just simply plugging it in and then plugging it, I believe, into the main board is what I did. And it all just worked. I put it on the layout and it worked. I know, right? That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's it. You
All
wanted
right,
to.
so this other beautiful locomotive that we've got on the table in N scale is also an articulated, and this is a Norfolk and Western, and I believe that's called a J,
That is not the J, that's the Y6B.
the Y6B.
Yes.
Correct.
The Y6B, and those things are workhorses, both in the prototypical world and in the N-scale model world. We posted a video on our social platforms. We put a actual brick on a mocked-up N-scale flat car and pulled it with no problems at all. We probably could have put maybe another 2 or 3 behind it if we wanted to, but just to kind of show the visualization of how strong those Y6Bs are. They're awesome. They're awesome locomotives. The sounds are fantastic on those as well. Traction tires on it, so you get the added tractive effort, and die-cast boiler and everything. So it's a heavy model. It's going to be perfect for your coal drags on your Appalachian-themed model railroads in N-scale.
And another thing I remember was there's capacitors in them, so they won't stall. If you've got dirty track or a switch point that might be dirty, the locomotive's not going to shunter. It's going to continue to run right through.
Yeah, and we do that on our YouTube channel with our videos. We put a long stretch of maybe about 3 or 4 inches of painter's tape on the track, and we run the train over it, and you can tell that
Wow,
it works really cool like that, where there's no power coming to it, and it does really, really well. Those locomotives all have those extra onboard capacitance. Same thing with the T1s and the F units and all that stuff too. They all have those extra onboard capacitance for Paragon 4.
Now, the very first Broadway Limited I ever bought was came out right around the inception of the company, and that was a Santa Fe Alligators in HO scale. And I've got them back here. I've 6 of those. I love the Alligator so much that during the when we did the Midwest Valley Modelers layout and we ran 50 train shows with that, I had picked up a set of those from Overland Models. And those Alligators were $750 each.
Yeah.
I know, right? But they were exquisite. They ran beautiful, and I had them in so many of my photographs that I ran through the years in the model press because they accentuated the scenes that I like to make. But you've came out with those now here. I've got them in N scale on the table.
Yeah, and multiple paint scheme variations. You see the Santa Fe, the zebra stripe scheme there, and the Pennsylvania one there too. Both of those locomotives are, again, just beautiful models of what Alco is, and I think there's a couple of them that still are preserved. I'm not sure if they operate or not, but you can still go to select museums across the country and see those. We hopefully will do another run of those with some new paint schemes and some new road numbers for those too. But we've done a couple different variations of those. That again, you can get those in stores now at your dealer. You just got to contact them and see if they've got any extras for you to get them on hold. Those have been out for a while, so if you're looking to get one, I'd say do some research and try to see if you can get them before we're completely sold out of them. But those are just, again, gorgeous locomotives. Too bad we can't replicate the smoke that Alco is famous for with all the chugging and the black smoke coming out of it. I wish we could do that, but there's only so much you can do in an N-scale diesel.
But you did get the sound accurate for the locomotive engine that's in that model, and the same goes for the articulated steam locomotives on the table tonight. You guys have got the authentic sound in them, including, the whistle's right. I've heard, I've only heard it on videos and DVDs, right? But it's matches.
It's funny you mention that, because we contact a lot of historical societies for help with it, because like the K2 Mikados, for example, it's so hard to try to find any good quality audio of that. And thankfully the Chesapeake and Ohio Historical Society sent us some CDs of recordings of the K2 Mikados that we were able to kind of, Joe Goddard, our sound engineer, was able to go through and clean up the audio. And keep in mind, it's 1947-ish audio, so it's not clear-cut audio how we're talking right now or how you'd have on your phone call today. So you really got to do a lot of work. Joe Goddard did a fantastic job of cleaning up some of those older audio files and getting that accurate sound that we can replicate with Paragon 4.
How awesome is that? Now, folks, are they going to be able to meet you in Texas? Are you going to that NMRA show?
Yes. Ken Silvestri and I will both be there. We'll be there from both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're bringing the big booth. We're bringing some production samples with us. We're bringing the Shea, HO Scale Class D Shea sample.
Wow.
We'll have some painted GS4 samples, which should hopefully be delivered next month. We've got some other Q2 samples, the Pennsylvania Railroad Q2, another brass hybrid locomotive. We'll have some more samples of that, plus GP35s, GP30s. We've got the New Haven I5s. Hopefully we'll be in by then too. The N-scale late challengers, the Union Pacific late challengers. So we're gonna have a lot of new stuff to show people in Texas. So if you're in that area and you want to see what we're working on, please come visit Ken and I. We'll be happy to chat with you and let you know any updates on any projects, and you get to see what we've got coming out too. And it's a fun time all around. It's great to chat with people when you go to shows like that.
It's going to be a fantastic show. I've heard they got pre-registrations of around 3,000 or more people. That's a rumor that I've heard recently on the phone, and that they anticipate between 15 and 17,000 people at the actual train show at the convention center.
Wow, that's very nice.
The hobby is it's doing well. It's fine. Everything's percolating. All the manufacturers across the board are coming out with so much new product. Look at everything we saw at that RPM meet this 2 weeks ago. The new models. Look at Rapido. Look at everything Athearn's coming out. Just go through the list of what Bachmann's coming out with. There's evidently a lot of model railroaders out there that love this hobby and are desiring and getting the models they want for their layouts. It's just
we're definitely in the golden age of model railroading in terms of. I don't mean that like pun intended, because we all might model something in the 1950s with golden age of railroading, but in the real sense, though, the details are phenomenal on these models. The quality of the models themselves are spectacular. The sounds are better than ever. The efforts that I know, like our team goes through of like our GP35, we went up to New Hampshire to Conway Scenic and recorded one of their GP35s for ours. So going through all those extra steps to make sure that we're accurate and that we're making sure that the model that you put on your layout or your club is the best possible, most accurate sounding and detailed you can possibly get.
Exactly.
very well said. Very well said.
My only story is I'm very glad to be on podcasts with you with Broadway Limited, because besides Athearn locomotives, my father collected a lot of Broadway Limited. It was he loved the way they looked, the way they sounded. He had the Rolling Thunder that you guys had come, which was one of his more prized possessions. It was set on his layout, and he'd always have the thing running. It was just when he got that, but every train show, every once in a while, I should say every once in a while, every train show that came out, he would have to buy another locomotive. It was the same thing of, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but we went from all the way from the normal straight Broadway Limited locomotives to all the way up to the Paragon 3 that he was starting to buy some of them that way. But he was just amazed, or just it really stuck. Like you're talking about the market out there. He just that stood out to what it is. So I'm just glad to be on with you in that. So.
I'm so glad to hear that, and thank you for being such a loyal customer. Our customers are awesome. And I'm not just saying that. Like, ever since I joined in March, I've talked to so many new customers. Well, I shouldn't say new, because they're returning customers, but new people that I've met, I should say. And a lot of people have said that, and they're just so complimentary and so friendly. It's always great to hear that feedback, and I appreciate your dad, and I appreciate you for saying that. It's great to hear.
I couldn't wait. It was on here. I was waiting for my chance to have something to say. But many things I've bought on your website, and then from distributors at some of the train shows that would have some of the new pieces in that he would have a tendency to walk over and look at it, and then usually come back with something in his hands, or as when he bought
Denver.
When he bought
we were at the Rocky Mountain Train Show, there was a gentleman that came over and he saw one of our samples. I forget what model it was, but he's like, are you guys selling that here? And I'm like, well, there's a couple of dealers that we work with that are just through that hallway over there. And then sure enough, he came back like 30 minutes later, and he's like, I caved. I got one.
Yes, it just, whether they were steam or diesel, it didn't matter, because he was not a specific railroad. He just, if he liked it, he bought it, and 9 times out of 10, it was always Broadway Limited. I've got multiple boxes of it.
I work for Broadway, but I have more Broadway engines than any other manufacturer I have, and I've been collecting trains for years now. My first Broadway engine was a QSI Santa Fe Northern, the 3751, the one that's restored in California. So I've had that locomotive for years. And in fact, I was showing the service guys, the guys that work in our service department repairing models, and they're like, oh my gosh, you have a model that the SKU number was 3 digits and it's 053, because like they haven't seen one that old, because it's a plastic tooling, and it's one of the first sound steam models that Broadway made and everything. So they're like, oh, that's so cool. They were looking at it like it was ancient, but I cherish that thing forever, because it's my favorite engine, and everybody has one of those in their collection.
That's awesome, guys. I want to go fix something real quick.
Okay.
I know, right?
Yeah, I noticed the
fact is, the NCE system has got one of the best circuit breakers in the world, and that train did derail over there. That's what that sound was. We probably have it on camera. Actually, cameras were rolling over there. But yeah, look, it's kind of rear-ended. It's
I see some pieces here.
Prototypically accurate.
Yes, that's it. Wow. Gosh.
1-to-1.
I know, right? Okay.
No accidents in so many days.
Short little distraction. No, it's in the way I've designed my modules. What I do is, the way my modules go together is I put 3-inch pieces of rail between the modules, and I put Atlas and scale rail joiners on them. Well, I haven't run the layout that much in the last 2 years, you want to say? And over the time, as you do run it, the rail joiners become a little loose, and you need to replace them with new ones, which I have not gone around and done, but I guess I will do that this week before next week, just to make sure that everything's perfect.
That's it.
Steve Mantia, you brought something absolutely beautiful in O-scale that I see. Tell us, what is that?
Well, my usual job, it seems, when I come on the podcast is to bring a little, bring some O-scale stuff out, and I just figured that, I saw the Milwaukee Road bipolar, and, for something that just sitting there is a great shelf piece that is just looks amazing. The colors stand out, all of it that way. Yes, and you're right. Trying to get it out of the package, I almost need the third hand to get out of it, get it to get it out of the box, because it's just, one, you're afraid to drop it, but how all the pieces come together. But it's just, I thought it was very impressive, and wanted to bring it that way.
It's very impressive. It's very heavy. It looks very robust.
Oh yeah. Well, anything MTH is always built to run and built to last and work out pretty well that way. So.
That's absolutely awesome. Gentlemen, where do we go from here going around the table? Curtis, we covered most of the engines on the table. Were there some models? You sent me some emails this week of some models.
So we've been getting a lot of questions about the, we just recently announced our HO scale die-cast metal SD70 ACE. And I sent you some call-out images that you could probably show us some B-roll, but we've got so many different paint schemes of heritage units from both Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern. We also have the George Bush unit, the 4141. Road-specific details on that. It'll also have smoke. So for those of you who like smoke with your diesels, it'll be able to smoke. And just in general, the die-cast diesel, it's our first die-cast diesel that we're going to be making here at Broadway Limited. And we've done this a lot with steam locomotives, and we've had a lot of success with mainly in terms of pulling power.
Okay.
A lot of times when you have a die-cast or even a brass steam locomotive like the K2 Mikado on the table there, you get that more pulling power, and with the traction tires on it especially. And we're hoping, because we're anticipating that this model will probably be between 2 to 3 pounds for the SD70 ACE. And that probably means that's going to have some massive pulling power with it.
Yes, it will.
So we're really excited about that with etched metal grab irons and handrails. So it won't be as flimsy as some plastic ones that you would get on like our SD40 there or what have you. So we're super excited to see how the market reacts to that. And so far, a lot of people have just had a lot of questions about, is it all metal parts? Is it all, is there going to be plastic parts? Everything on that locomotive is going to be die-cast metal with metal parts.
I want to say this is the first time that's ever been done, die-cast. Now, when do you anticipate that's going to be? When will we see a pre-production sample of that?
Hopefully within the next couple of months, maybe early 2024.
Okay.
But the model themselves will be hopefully anticipating no delays of any kind with the factory. Should hopefully be into stores and into customers' hands by spring of 2024.
Very cool. That sounds exciting.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
That just shows that die casting is even getting more detailed. You'd expect it to, wouldn't you? Over time, technology changes, improvements.
Technology and stuff.
That stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
The other model too that we're really excited is the Class D Shay, our first Shay that we're going to be making. Also, same thing, die-cast metal. The gears will be metal, so it won't have so much wear as a plastic gears. And by gears, I'm not talking about the motor gears. I'm talking about the actual gears on the side of a Shay. So you picture the movement and back and forth. Yeah, so that's going to be die-cast. And hopefully those will be, same thing, aiming for the winter/spring of 2024 too. And we also just announced the Boston and Maine Berkshires. We're also making the Santa Fe and Southern Pacific variants of those Berkshires, because Boston and Maine, right before World War II, they sold off their Berkshires to Santa Fe and Southern Pacific.
That's true.
Both the railroads, we're modeling it as if the Santa Fe and Southern Pacific both just made their quick renditions before modernizing it to their standards. So it's still going to have that unique front of the Boston and Maine locomotive with the water heater covering over the smoke box and everything like that. So that'll be really cool too. Hopefully we'll have some production samples of that within the next 6 or so months. Hopefully in the next month or so we're having our Southern Pacific GS4s. We're hoping to have those delivered in the next month. We haven't heard any of delays recently, so we'll hopefully have those in stores too. Those are really, really popular right now. A lot of people are excited about that. The sounds on these locomotives, Joe Goddard did a great job getting the accurate sounds from Southern Pacific 4449.
Very
so
cool.
The whistle, the bell, the chuffing, all of that is from the real locomotive. And we have got different variations of paint scheme with the post-war daylight scheme, the pre-war daylight scheme, the War Baby Black freight scheme. We've also got a couple of Fantasy Scheme exclusives. One of them is a Fantasy Scheme. It's the Western Pacific passenger scheme, so that'll go good with California Zephyr set from Broadway Limited if you have one. And we're also doing the Burlington Northern Santa Fe Employee Appreciation Special scheme that the daylight was decorated in with all black, and it had the BNSF logo on it too. So you more modern day modelers can purchase one for a steam excursion of sorts on your layout. And then of course we're doing the American Freedom Train, and then we've got some other road number is not 4449 that modelers can pick out too.
Wow. One of my most favorite trains you came out with many years ago, a decade ago over, was the California Zephyr.
Yeah.
That beautiful passenger train that I use these, actually got some Athearn units up here on the silver ones on the up on the shelf that had pulled that train. I've got a lot of great video run-bys of that beautiful consist, and they were lit and they tracked well. And I want to run that train next week. That was a great train. I know I just blanked out on where I wanted to go after that.
Well, we are making more passenger cars. We aren't making a full set like the California Zephyr, but we do have some actual passenger cars that are in the works right now that hopefully we'll have an announcement in the next 6 or 7 or so months of those cars.
Just remember all these products that Curtis has described tonight you can get at Spring Creek Model Trains out in Deshler, Nebraska. Dave and Deb and Mike and Jeff and all the boys out there. What a wonderful family. What a great train store. And thank you very much for helping us support this, the best hobby in the world. I've gotten a lot of feedback. In fact, my father called me up this week and had talked to friends that were thankful for the fact that they received hats at the RPM meet. Evidently, my dad knows all these people too. So, but thank you very much, Denny, for supplying us with the hats at yelsma.com. Next week, we're going to cover a lot of your new logos that you're coming out with, and this is going to be really exciting. Next week's show is going to be fun, guys, just like this week's show is. So, going around the table one more time, have we covered everything tonight?
I believe so.
Yes.
I think so.
I think so.
Curtis, fantastic job tonight, Curtis.
Thank you.
You really understand the product that you guys sell, and it sounds like you guys are coming out with a lot of new, interesting models. I can't wait to see
the
what
next year or two is going to be awesome. I'm just going to say that right now. Knowing what we got coming out, you're going to want to keep an eye out for what we're coming up with.
You've heard about it here first on this show, a die-cast diesel locomotive. That sounds very interesting. That sounds fantastic. Richard,
we're excited.
I'm glad you had a good trip.
Thank you.
I know you're going to be talking about this for a lot of shows.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Mantia, thank you very much for coming up here tonight.
I'm glad to be here. Always. I'm always glad to be here.
So with that, guys, we're going to take our NCE system and put that train back on the track. I have to shoot B-roll of it so I can at least share it.
Show what it looks like.
And we'll get her started up again. Again, I run this UWT 100 throttle through JMRI to get it to work with the NCE system, and it generally always works flawlessly unless my track work doesn't work so great. It just had to happen during the show.
I know.
It's just one else.
I know, right? So with that, guys, this is the best hobby in the world with some of the best people in it sitting all around me here tonight. Be sure to hit subscribe, hit that bell so you get notifications when the next show comes out. And with that, gentlemen, let's go put that train on the track and let's go run some trains. All right, good job. Let's do the thumbnail at the table. All Chris has got to do is, I guess, just smile and wave at the camera unless you got something you want to hold up. Yeah, see, like that.
I can maybe grab something.
And I will hold my hammerhead in my hand.
You know what? I'll just wave at the camera.
Okay, ready, set, and look at camera one, and there you go. And we have the thumbnail. Good job, Curtis. You are very knowledgeable and well spoken. You are the youth of the hobby.
I appreciate that. I've been enjoying this a lot. Like I said, I've only been down here a short amount of time, but always willing to jump back on, Ken. You know where to reach me, so always happy to jump back on when you guys are ready for it.
You and Ken Silvestri are great. You guys are great. Good.
Ken's a fun guy. He's a very fun guy.
Okay, I'm going to kill screen capture first and make sure we have a good file. I'm going to let camera one roll for 45 seconds while I kill number 2 and sound. Good job, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I know, right? Just one derailment tonight.
We don't have anybody to blame it on, so you know.
Yeah.
Let me bring back Curtis and you guys can talk. I gotta still kill sound here. This technology is amazing. I mean, Skype, it's amazing that we can bring people on and have them right here. How crazy is that? Why is this not coming up? There it is.
There
Here it is.
There we go.
All right, now I'll kill